Hello, I'm Gareth. This is Somewhere on Earth. It's a special edition, wouldn't you just know? And I'm here in London. Joining me today is technology journalist Nick Queck. So he's a technology journalist and filmmaker. And welcome to Somewhere on Earth, your debut on our little podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Gareth.
Lovely to have you. Now, people may be wondering why you are my expert in this edition. What do we need to know?
I asked myself that. I don't know why. No, I'm here because for over the past 13, 14 years, I've been globe-trotting around the world, covering innovation in various sizes and various shapes and forms. And over the last few months, something caught my attention, which was a young artist by the name of Eli Crossley and his amazing talent, but also how he is developing a exoskeleton, a arm assist device to help him keep his dream of performing music alive for longer. And we took Eli to South by Southwest in America, one of the world's leading and biggest music festivals, to not only help him achieve his dream of breaking America, but also for him to be able to share his pioneering assistive technology to the masses. So that's why I'm here, and thank you so much again for having me.
Well, thanks for being here, Nick, and for setting that up so nicely for us. And we might just be meeting Eli. Spoiler alert, dear podcast listener. Let's jump in. And coming up today... Yes, it is. It's a heady mix of technology, music, and remarkable interlinked human stories this week as we talk about a degenerative condition called Duchenne muscular dystrophy. We're hearing about efforts to build assistive technology to help those who have the condition, like Eli, who we'll be meeting quite soon, because this is indeed a mother and son telling their story. He has DND. She has founded a charity to work on technology to improve not just his life, but the lives of others who have the condition. So there's a whole lot going on. Wheelchair technology, big data, as Nick said, exoskeletons, and I suspect possibly a bit of artificial intelligence as well. And there's a healthy dose of rock and roll. What more could you want? It's all right here on the Somewhere on Earth podcast. All right, so you've heard the name, now meet the man. Yes, people, Eli Crossley is right here around the table with us. It is an honour and a privilege to meet you, Eli. You have performed at the Glastonbury Music Festival, haven't you?
Yeah, that is correct. First of all, I'd like to say thank you so much, Gareth, for having me on. This is actually my first time on a podcast, so it's a great privilege to be here.
Wow, well, no, we're the privileged ones, believe you me, especially given that you've done loads of telly and you've performed at Glastonbury and at South by Southwest, and now here you are giving your first ever podcast interview. It's a scoop. Brilliant. Right, that's made my day already. And what else do we need to know about you? Because you're in year 12, as we call it in British schools. So how old does that make you?
So that makes me 16, and for the international listeners, in year 12 and year 13, so when you're 16, 17 and 18, you take your final school exams. So I'm currently in the middle of that. I study geography, business and music. Music, obviously, for those of you who don't know, I am in a band. I'm a singer in a band called Askew, which is a bunch of my really, really close friends. Obviously, last year we got the opportunity to play at Glastonbury, which was just the best moment of my life. It's something that my parents have talked about since I've been very young, and I've always known about it. And the fact my first time going there, I wasn't just watching, but I was actually playing, was amazing. And then obviously South by Southwest was incredible as well. Like, being flown out to America is a crazy experience at 16.
Yeah, at 16 years old, and then to be at that festival, you met a lot of the great and the good of the whole music community. Met some of your heroes, didn't he, Nick?
Met John Bon Jovi.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, John Bon Jovi. How was that?
He was lovely. He gave me really good words of advice, which I really wasn't expecting, because he's obviously such a legend in the music industry, and my aim is to be like him with my band. We want to be like Bon Jovi. So the fact he gave time to talk to me was just amazing.
Yeah, and we're here to talk about assistive technology. So set this up for us, Eli. We've already spoken about the condition that I'm just abbreviating to DMD. Perhaps tell me a little bit about the condition, how it affects you, and then why we're talking about assistive technology in this special edition of Somewhere on Earth.
So Duchenne muscular dystrophy is a muscle wasting disease, which means you lack the gene dystrophin, and that causes muscle wastage. It does have some really kind of sad impacts. Obviously, I stopped walking when I was 15, and you slowly lose like function of certain body parts, and it is really, really difficult. I'm a full-time wheelchair user. That's one way it affects me, and it's just, I think, coming to terms with a condition that is really, really tough is obviously difficult. I've become accustomed and I'm used to it now. I've got an amazing life, and obviously the reason why my mum's charity is working on assistive technology is because when you lose the ability to walk, you obviously have a wheelchair, so that's in place. But when you lose upper arm function, there's nothing really in place to help kids with that. That can be really difficult because, like, everyday tasks such as even brushing your teeth, lifting up a glass of water is really difficult. So that is the main reason behind trying to come up with this upper body exoskeleton.
Picking up a glass, cleaning your teeth, and indeed picking up musical instruments, getting a guitar, holding a microphone, all this kind of stuff. So you mentioned your mum and the charity as well. So let's meet Mum, Emily Rubin, who's co-founder of Duchenne UK. So just in a few words, tell us about the charity then, Emily.
It's always hard to follow my son because he's so eloquent. But yeah, thanks for having us on the podcast. So we're first and foremost a research charity. So in 13 years, we've raised and spent £27 million on accelerating research for Duchenne muscular dystrophy. And it was only in the last few years that we started to look at assistive technology. I think because we're a charity run by parents, my co-founder Alex and I both have sons with Duchenne, we're really living this disease on the front line. So when things come up that we find to be challenging, that we find, to not help our boys, and where we maybe can find a solution, then we will do that. So, for instance, we found out that they were turning away clinical trials in the UK because there weren't enough doctors and nurses. So we set up the DMD hub, we invested £4 million, and there are now more trials than ever before. And it's we have to think globally about Duchenne because it's a rare disease. So we work with partners all across the world. And the technology side of things really grew out of a desire for Eli to play the ukulele and live his life and pursue his passions for as long as he can. And, that's why we're so motivated.
Absolutely. As any mother, any parent would want, you want the best for your child, don't you? And one way of achieving the best for them might be just ringing around, trying to get the support, putting a team together, and that might be as far as it can go. And for many parents, maybe that is as far as they can go. But you've had the means, you've had the will and the drive to not leave it just at that, haven't you? You've gone to these extraordinary lengths, setting up this charity, effectively setting up a whole research organisation to tackle this.
Yeah, I mean, if you told me 12 years ago that we would have achieved everything we have done, I wouldn't have believed you. But, I suppose I have a really strong sense of justice and injustice. And I just felt as though, because Duchenne's a rare disease, it's often overlooked, and that just felt unjust to me. And in the technology space, I just have a real rage inside me about the injustice of it. We got the delivery of a new car last week, and it was nice. We enjoyed having the car. It didn't have wires sticking out of it. It didn't have nuts and bolts sticking out of it. It didn't have nails sticking out of it. But when you look at Eli's wheelchair, there are wires hanging off. There's a big nail that just stops short of his thigh.
So it's really crude technology. So that's your point.
And it makes me
then.
angry.
Yeah, so the big technology companies, because obviously they have massive markets in the kind like making cars or games consoles or what have you, they're all beautifully, slickly designed. And I guess what you're saying is not everybody and not many technology companies, not enough of them, maybe not any of them, are really thinking about the kind of needs that we're up against here.
And if only they did, we could change the world.
It would make a real difference. So, well, we're going to find, obviously I want to find out all about the technologies that you've been developing and a bit more about what you do at Duchenne UK. And let's meet Hayley Filippo, who's also around the table here. You're head of technology, aren't you, at Duchenne
Yes, I am,
UK?
yeah. That's right, yes.
And as head of technology, tell me a little bit about like the team that you have there then. Have you got like a whole kind of research team, or is it really you guys working together in a front room? What's the scale here?
Well, yeah, one of the things about Duchenne UK is incredibly effective but amazingly lean as well. So, we're not this big charity with massive overheads and, lots of kind of funds spent on marketing and things like that. We're really invested in what we do, and Emily mentioned there the amount of money that's been raised over that time since she and Alex set it up. But you can honestly say all of that money is going towards that research, going towards, finding new treatments, finding solutions, best practice in care, setting up all these amazing initiatives which are helping families across the UK.
So you say you're lean. So how lean? How many of you are there?
Well, we worked it out the other day because we've had an influx of a few people. There's about 14 full-time members of staff equivalent.
Oh, that's decent.
But in the technology team, it's you and David.
Yeah, so just the two of us.
You and David, and then Eli gives input. I obviously input a lot. My co-founder Alex does, and we're bringing in some people who have lived experience of Duchenne because we're trying to bring the development of this product in-house because that's where the expertise is. You need to engage.
Yeah. No.
I think what's unique is that you're the head of technology at a charity. How many charities have a head of technology?
I know.
So you're not just looking at research to cure DMD, but you're also developing brand new cutting-edge innovations to play part and parcel of the mission that you're trying to achieve.
Right. And now I want to hear about some of this innovation. Our listeners are all sitting there saying, yeah, good stuff, but what are you actually doing then? So tell me about the Smart Suit. Let's start with that.
Yeah, so Smart Suit got itself a new name. So the young people worked with us to find a name for it and called it Elevex. So it's our new Elevex suit. And what it is basically is a wearable, so soft robotics, a wearable technology, which is going to help people to be able to lift their arms. So, and be able to sort of use their arms for all of those things that Eli mentioned, eating, drinking, leisure activities, holding a mic, singing,
Is
playing
this the
drums.
exoskeleton idea? Is that a separate
Absolutely.
thing? Right,
No,
okay.
this is it. So exos can be hard worn, hard on the outside and sort of very mechanical looking.
That's what
or
I
they
was
can also be
thinking.
soft robotics.
Soft robotics.
Yeah.
So, Eli, we're talking about something that presumably is more sympathetic to your body because you don't really... It's going to cramp your style a little bit if you're wearing something that's just like 4 pieces of metal with a load of actuators on it. This sounds much more suited to what you need. Just tell me, you haven't got it on at the moment, but tell me what it is, what it's like to wear it.
First of all, you're very right. I'm a rock star.
This
This can't cramp my style. I've got to always look the part. But yeah, so it's in the early stages
Working on it, aren't we?
of development. Yeah, Hayley is doing an amazing job. She really kind of
Thanks, Eli.
understands like what needs to be done.
I'm glad you're impressed with it. That would have been a very awkward interview if you said that.
No,
rubbish.
we've had some honest
But-
conversations about it.
But I would like to say, I would like to also say that it is in the early stages of development.
Yeah.
So, for example, comfort can be improved. I think the style of it at the moment, as I said, still in early stages. So it's not where we want it to be.
Yeah.
But we have seen good early progress, and obviously, I think one of the reasons why it's so difficult doing this is because no one's done it before.
Yeah, it's
And
not,
doing
yeah,
something no
it's
one's
not like
done
you've got
before,
a
breaking a
blueprint.
market for disability is,
Yeah,
hard.
just trying to give the listeners a sense of what it is and what it looks like. The way I'd understand it is it looks not like a corset in a bad way necessarily. In fact, it doesn't. But it is something that kind of, for want of a better term, straps a little bit around the body and has supports for your arms that have clearly some kind of actuator and something that's giving you force and momentum to lift your arms. So
Do you want me to say what it's like?
just
Or do
let's
you
have a
want
go
them
at
to say-
describing
Well,
it.
I
Yeah,
would
go
say,
for it, Nick.
you know what it's like? It's kind of like a rucksack or a backpack, but instead of there being a bag and container at the back of it, what there is just the arm straps and then also a sleeve for Eli's elbow, which then, when Eli's got the straps on and the sleeve, a electric motor is able to lift up his arm and also back down again using a string actuator. What do you call it, Hayley?
Twisted string actuator, so TSA for short. So this is an actuator which was developed in the Stanford Research Institute over in the US, and they came up with this idea of using a really quite a small motor. Actually, it's quite low power, and a string. So if you have a couple of pieces of string and you put them together and you held them at both ends, and you started twisting at one end, what would happen eventually is that the string gets shorter, right? So, and if you think about then applying that into something that's worn on the body, so you've got a motor that turns, a string that is running through, so it's flexible, you can move, and then the string gets shorter, and then you can actually, generate lift, amazingly effectively actually, through using this sort of wearable actuation method without having to have these, big motors and, hard exos and stuff like that. And we're talking a lot about the controls, weren't we? Eli's been amazing.
Well,
he and other people have been testing it. Some fantastic stuff.
How do you control it then? Does it sense automatically what your body's trying to
not
do?
at the moment.
Okay, so you've got some kind of control input, and then it'll allow you to lift one of your arms.
So what did you think about the ring? Wasn't really your thing, right?
No.
The ring.
The
Well,
ring.
tell me
had a
about the
ring.
ring. So, like a wearable ring that was somehow the input device.
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
so it's like on Bluetooth, and you just, if you want to lift the arm, you switch the ring one way, and you want to lower the arm, you switch the ring another way, which we actually thought was quite a snazzy idea. But then when Eli and some other kids with Duchenne used it, I think they found it a little bit clunky and cumbersome.
It's kind of confusing.
Wasn't cool
Yeah.
enough. Wasn't cool
Yeah.
enough.
Well,
was the style rather cramped then, Mr.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. So that's what the end aim is, to get kind of like a everyday ring, like a cool accessory. And obviously now, as it's one of the early prototypes, it's basically a 3D printed kind of ring, and it has like something which you turn, but it can sometimes get like stuck, and sometimes it's
But what But what I think's important about this, and why to me this piques my interest as a technology journalist, is because this is design in action, in that Eli is part and parcel of the design process.
Absolutely.
So very often you see assistive technology is designed without the intended demographic actually part of the design process. But Eli has been instrumental in the design of the Elevex arm assist, which is incredibly important. Because as Hayley, you can testify, there's no point in... how important is that?
Massively so. Massively so. We see, as you said, so much technology that's intended for people with disabilities to use, which just doesn't work in the way that people would want. And I used to say that we were in the business of producing products that people don't want to have to use. But actually, when you think about it, a lot of that is because the intended users haven't been involved in the design process.
And also, why can't we have products that they really want to use?
Exactly. And if they are, then you get that insight, you get that intel.
Yeah.
And
you're
you build
proving,
it in.
that it is technologically possible.
Completely.
There's an emotional side to this, but it's an engineering problem at the end of the day that you're tackling.
Absolutely.
I think it's kind of messed up that it's a bonus that the intended audience are part of the design process.
Like, who knew? Yeah.
Like, what? Like, that's the whole point of designing.
Why not bring
something?
the end user in and hear what they think? Novel concept. No, absolutely. But
you
it
don't
clearly
see consoles doing that. No.
Well, no, okay. Well,
A games console take, or a video game. One of the key things to a successful business, in terms of entertainment, say, is you want feedback from your customers. You want customer satisfaction. And I think that's also really, really important, and that's what we're trying to do.
yeah.
I really have faith that this will work,
Sure.
and we will succeed.
So how is all this technology helping you with your music?
So I'm a singer, and I play electric ukulele, which is basically a small guitar, 4 strings. And obviously, like currently, in terms of playing the ukulele, I'm still able to do that. However, with the microphone, I can never really pick up the microphone out of its stand because I don't have that upper arm function. So having this smart suit will really help with that kind of side of being the front man. And I think that in terms of playing an instrument, I can do it right now. But if that ever, say, deteriorates, I know I've got something there that can help me. Help me hold the mic, help me down the line play my instrument and do what I love, which is music.
And you have a new song out, don't you?
yeah, so me and my band Askew, we just released a song. Here it is.
There you go. That's a little bit of Will's song from the band Askew. And I thought that was lovely. So tell me how that song came about. Who's Will?
Will Pond is one of the guitarists in my band, and he came up with a riff at home, and I loved it. I mean, all of my band members are amazing. Freddie Wormington on drums, Alfie Lewis on bass. I know I'm naming them all. Will Pond on guitar, Jay Guru Murphy on guitar, and then me, and it's
Eli Crossley on vocals.
Eli Crossley on vocals, yeah. And he sent me a riff, and he said, I really like this. I think we can make a song out of it. So then we brought it into band, and then it's kind of, at the start of writing a song like that, you're just playing around. So Freddie came up with a drum groove, and then we slowly started adding parts, and then we got to a kind of phase where we quite liked the way it sounded. So then what happened is they loop the kind of for instruments, and they loop like what they're playing, and then I eventually came up with a melody. So I record that into my phone, and then I go home and then I write the lyrics, and it didn't take long to write, and we created the song in, I don't know, 3 to 4 weeks. So
the best songs often happen like that, though.
Yeah.
It's it's just amazing to hear some of your music, and we've had to skip over so many parts of your remarkable story. But just before we leave it, and then we'll go to the podcast extra for our subscribers and hear a bit more about the technology that you're developing. But there is this story that kind of goes a little bit like somehow you're living your life, and then somehow you get to know a TV journalist and filmmaker called Nick, and the next thing you know, you're at South by Southwest. And I've missed quite a lot out there. So, Nick, perhaps you might want to tell us how this has all come about.
Fill us in, Nick.
Well, gosh, where to begin? I essentially was thinking about who I would like to take to South by Southwest to perform and represent the best of British talent. And I came across Eli Crossley, the youngest ever performer at Glastonbury, and his incredible story and his talent and his drive and his passion. And so, essentially, by hook or by crook, I thought, I'm going to get this guy over there to help him achieve his dream and break America. And we got funding from British Council and Arts Council England, and the very generous support from British Underground. And Crispin Parry was the creative director of that. We hopefully will be listening to that. Shout out to you, Crispin, you're a legend. Thank you so much for believing in this dream. And South by Southwest, as a organisation, were also behind us. And they said, let's go, bring Eli over, let's put him on the international stage, let's hear his story and hear about this incredible assistive technology. And so we packed our bags and we flew over to Austin. We went there, he rocked the show, brought the house down, and along the way met a bunch of incredible people. And when I say incredible people, I mean we're talking about rock and roll legends, music producers. We've worked with everyone from R.E.M. to Westlife to U2 to Michael Jackson. And I told them about Eli's story, and they offered Eli on the spot a recording contract. So we're going over to Ireland in August to record Eli in Askew's first in-studio professional recording. And after we came off the stage at Austin's Convention Centre, we were met by a man called Phil Tidy, who was a legendary music video producer of everyone from the Spice Girls to Florence and the Machine to Oasis, the Libertines to The Cure. I can go on and on. And he came up to us and said, I'm so touched by this message that we'd love for Askew to come to our studios in Soho to record their first ever music video. And I think that We also met John Bon Jovi, by the way. Just throwing that in at the end.
I think
We also met
Eli's
John
already
Bon
dropped
Jovi.
that name, but I'm glad you've reiterated it.
And I just think it's incredible that when you have a global platform like that and people listening, you can really change the world, change lives, and move things forward. Because people want to be able to make the best of their talents and connections, but they might not know how to position that. Whereas if you kind of show them the way, you lead them to the water and you hope they drink. But there's no point flogging a dead horse, Gareth. But no, it was an incredible experience for me as a technology documentarian and commentator. But I'm so happy that it kind of felt like a win-win-win on multiple levels. I felt privileged and happy that I was able to make Eli's dream come true. In a small way. I don't think we're there yet. I think Eli's got way more to go, and he's got far greater ambitions than performing at South by Southwest.
He's still got that second difficult album to come.
Exactly.
That's still going to happen. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now we're here.
We still need the first album.
Well, I'm just thinking ahead. So how about for all of you? I sort of go around the table really, just asking kind of what that has meant to you. So, Hayley, how about you? Clearly you didn't see any of this coming, but what's it meant to you to be kind of swept up in this innovation, charity, rock and roll, crazy story?
It's just been a dream come true. So I've spent my whole career in this industry, designing from everything from one-offs to like small products of daily living, and you get to know the industry, and then, you meet a charity like Duchenne UK and the amazing community that we have, who connected to us through Duchenne UK, and the determination and the drive to solve these problems, overcome these barriers, just an absolute refusal to take no for an answer, and just the drive and determination. There will be a way. We will find the way, and we will make it. And I really see us as, though we said we're a small bunch of people, we are so much bigger than that, because we have this amazing community. We are like massive collaborators in our space, and we just welcome people in. So despite being a charity, I think helps really, because we're not here as a commercial entity. We've got nothing that we're kind of protecting about. What we want to do is we want to share. We want people to come in. We want people to bring their technology to us and go, hey, I've got this. What about this? Do you think this could help? Great, we can help you build that in. We've got these amazing people who we're working with, amazing young people who are testing stuff, giving us their thoughts, their insights, and helping us tune things to be how they should be.
Yeah, and Emily, I'm asking you, as the successful founder of a charity and as a mum and as a human being, what it means to you when you see your boy on stage at Glastonbury at South by Southwest, being offered recording contracts and deals, access to amazing studio space to make tracks. How does that feel?
I mean, I'm just so thrilled for him and the opportunities that he gets. I mean, I get asked that question a lot, and I it's so hard to try and find something new and interesting to say. But the South by Southwest experience was so extraordinary, because we were showcasing not just the work for the charity, but Eli performing on stage, and the way he just comes on stage in his wheelchair, and he just has this sort of presence, this commanding presence, that people stop and listen and look, and then they get involved, and then seeing the expressions on their faces change, like, oh my God, this is really good. And all the opportunities that Nick opened up for us and created for us. It was, most of the week sort of goes by in a haze of margaritas and tacos. I think we had tacos and margaritas for
Welcome to my
breakfast,
life,
lunch
yeah.
and dinner. And I'm not complaining. But the buzz and the energy was infectious, and it's, it was great, because it felt like, yes, this is where we belong, and this is where we can gain traction for what we're doing.
Okay, and maybe a difficult question then, but to what extent is this, or might it be, a race against time? Because Eli's already said that there might be a time that he can't do what he can do at the moment, and yet, technology development, of course it can be quick. You're incredibly agile, but it takes time. Do you see it as a race against time?
Everything is a race against time with Duchenne. And my big sadness and regret is that when we started the charity, we wanted to fund treatments, and they are coming now, but maybe too slowly. But with the technology, I feel sort of anger more than fear about the ticking clock, because I know that the technology is out there. I know that the brains are out there, and I just feel enraged that no one has done this until now.
Yeah. And that's what keeps you going to an extent.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think also, obviously, like from my side, being told that you have a reduced life expectancy, all these things, possibly being told that some stuff is too late. I mean, yeah, I don't know how to describe it to people who don't feel this, but it's terrifying. Terrifying knowing that I won't be able to live as long as lots of people. However, I've really come to the realisation that the only thing I'm afraid of is not achieving what I want to do in my lifetime. And I want to leave this world knowing that I've done everything that I wanted to do and accomplished lots of things. And playing at Glastonbury already, playing at South by Southwest, already a lot's happened, and I just want to achieve everything I can. And who knows, I might die of a drug addiction when I'm 26, like your average rock star. But I just want to I want to get out there, I want to make music, I want to inspire people, I want to do all these things, and I want to, I'm not afraid of dying. I just want to do everything that I feel I need to complete in my life.
Well, there we'll leave it, I think. Eli, it's been an honour and a privilege. Thank you. And to all of you around the table, to Nick, to Hayley, and to Emily. The producer is Anya. I'm Gareth, and a big thanks to Josh Pullen here at All Is Joy Studios. He's been our sound technician in what I think has sounded like an absolutely lovely podcast. So big thanks to Josh. If you subscribe to our podcast extra, then there is more where this came from. Otherwise, we'll see you next week. Have a good week, folks, and thanks for listening. Bye-bye.